Well, thank you very much, Woki, for that report on the CAF Championship. Well, time for us now to get into a conversation. And you know, all of August it has been football season on KBC Channel 1, and that's why at the top right of your screen you can read Chan Iko KBC. Now Leo CAF wako KBC, and here for this conversation this evening we've got the head of TV and communications at the Confederation of African Football, Luxoxo. Pleasure to meet you.
I'm very happy to be at home, you know. I mean, this place feels like home to me. There is some excitement about being in Kenya, something very close to what this country means to the history of the continent. And of course, this country now is in the spotlight, thanks to Chen.
Well, and talking about that, we'd just like to take, you know, an overview of the coverage of Chan. And first, the efforts put by the local organizing committees to put, you know, to promote the tournament before and the, you know, and also the build-up to it, because that's one part of it.
Look, everything is about leadership. That's what I've learned my 4 or so years at CAF under the leadership of Dr. Patrice Motsepe. What I've learned is that everything is about leadership in life. I remember coming here, you know, in December, I think it was on the 23rd of December, when everyone else was saying, no, Kenya will never be ready. The commitment of Dr. Motsepe to make this Chen a success, the commitment of President Ruto to make this Chen a success, the President Samia in Tanzania and President Museveni in Uganda, and also the federations, I mean, the President Hussein here and the local organizing committee. And I think you've got to look at this Chen and say it's been a historic competition. This Chen has, I mean, I'm not Kenyan, but it's the first time I go to a match or an event here and I see such excitement. It's the first time, certainly, that I have seen the global community commenting about the passion, the commitment. After the 30th of August, no one in the world will actually ask, can the East Africans do it? Because you guys have successfully answered this. And I think for me, I mean, I'm sure you guys will be the first to admit that this Chen has exceeded everyone's expectations. The support of the Harambee Stars, the support of the Kenyans. I know at some stage we're talking about too many people going to the stadium. I was talking to President Motsepe this morning and I said, you know, as much as it's a headache, but we've got a good headache in our hands.
Well, I'll be talking about that headache later because it's known as ticketing. And during the tournament, you know, what's the changing communications about this event that have evolved week in, week out?
I was reading a document. I mean, I was reading an article on the leading newspaper here in Kenya, and it said that what started as an experiment has become a very successful adventure. And I think this Chen is a blueprint for everyone else. It's the first time CAF has ever flirted with an idea of 3 hosts, and we've seen that East Africa can do it. I think, but the most important legacy of this Chen is what happens when CAF leaves. What the KPL does, Kenya Premier League, what Kenya Football Federation do when we are leaving here, because the foundation, a firm foundation has been set. The investment by the government in the facilities is going to benefit not only football. I mean, you guys have got some of the best athletes in the world. Now, Kasarani Stadium is not only world class now, it's got great floodlights, it's got great track. It means that the legacy of this Chen will be felt long after CAF has left this country. Well,
and that's one of the things, you know, that a conversation that, you know, I would like you to put forward. I think January, just around when the draw was conducted in February, you know, there were the conversations that went out, you know, what Donald Trump calls fake news. You know, Rwanda is going to take this. How are you managing, you know, scenarios like those?
I mean, we've got a leader in President Motsepe who's very, very single-minded sometimes, to a fault, you know. I mean, he fights with all of us. He doesn't sleep. I mean, I just got off the meeting with him now.
And you had one in the morning.
No, it was 7:30 in the morning, you know. He wanted to know everything that is happening in Kenya. How are we prepared? Is it going to be a full stadium? And the message that was being given to him was the government of Kenya is committed to a full stadium. The federation in Kenya, the LOC in Kenya, but more importantly, the Kenyans themselves are so determined to show the rest of the world that Kenya is in the global spotlight and Kenya is seizing its moment. I mean, I saw the other day one of your ambassadors, Larry Modo, every day he's wearing a Kenya jersey nowadays, you know. So I think for me, first of all, there was never a doubt in CAF's mind that this tournament should be here. It was important for CAF to put the necessary support. Be kind to yourselves. It's the first time you guys have hosted a major competition in more than 30, 40 years. So no one is born knowing how to organize major competition. There's a progressiveness. AFCON coming here, now we know what this part of the world can do. And I think we have set ourselves up, including yourselves, for probably one of the most successful global events ever.
Now, because you brought up the headache and, repeatedly, I mentioned about a commitment to a full stadium and that.
Yes.
How has ever since the, after that match where, everyone, it was restricted to 60,
yes,
brought up to around 80.
Yes.
What's now the way, the communication and the way out towards the final Saturday?
I mean, look, as I said, everyone else was a bit negative about it. And I reflected on it. Of course, we have to ensure that the people who come to the stadiums are safe. We've got to work with the government and put stringent measures to ensure that safety and security is non-negotiable. But it's a good headache to have,
Yeah.
Because the people are probably too excited. The people are so united in Kenya. The people are looking forward to football and talking football and are so passionate about it. Now, our job, the government's job, CAF's job, LOC's job, and the Federation is to ensure we put the necessary structures in place from a security point of view, crowd control and crowd management, to ensure that the people come in and out of the stadium in the safe possible manner. But let's not dilute the excitement, because tomorrow you've got Morocco playing Madagascar.
Day after, yes.
Day after, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
But the people of Kenya are as interested in that game because this is your time to market your country as a destination for sport. And I think the ticket sales are not just going well, are amazing. For me, I think it's important we put all these things in context. And context matters. Be kind to yourselves, but also know that going forward, we always put the right people. Now, after this, you've got the right people. We've got the people with the necessary skills. You've got the support of CAF to ensure that you walk this road. But for me, I leave this country in the next 3 or 4 days with only warm and great memories.
Now, outside the field of play, because there's so many stories that can be told, what are some of the moments that caught your eye? Zanzibar, Dar.
I mean, I was in Tanzania, and the match finished, and then they start after party at the stadium. 40,000 people are outside the stadium. Just there is a music concert, an impromptu, and I'm like, wow, unbelievable. When we had a match of Kenya here, the fan zones, when I saw how many people were packed in the streets of Nairobi watching the fan zone, for me, as I said, this competition has highlighted something the global community has unfairly ignored for a very long time. Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda's ability to organize things, first of all, at the global scale, but more importantly, the unfairly underestimated passion of the people of this particular part of the world to support football.
Well, just how, this after-party things, for high-level events, it just wouldn't happen. Just how did TZ pull that off?
My goodness me, I don't mention it. The security guys. I think what has happened, again, is that at first there was a question of, can this tournament happen? Then I think people started catching up, and the nationalism kicks in, the patriotism kicks in, the sense of pride about your own thing kicks in. And then the people are just part of it. One of the highlights for me, I was going to the match Kenya versus Morocco, and I was driving to the stadium. Everywhere, from my hotel to the stadium, there was someone wearing a Kenyan flag. Unbelievable.
Well, I can tell you that is one thing that we shall always remember with this tournament, and bringing into the fan zones, brought in for the final, for the final 2 group matches, and started off with 6, then it up as 13. What is the lesson learned about this kind of fan engagement? Because it's happening everywhere.
It's amazing, right? It's amazing. But again, as I said, for a country that has not hosted major events, we walk away with a lot of lessons here. For me, it's this particular part of the world, about 400 million people, passionate people, just need to be activated, and this competition has activated. I think actually when we reflect, the media reflects and everyone else reflects, when we talk about the revival of football in East Africa, or Kenya in particular, we will always look at Shell.
And looking at it, how would you want to engage more for future tournaments? Morocco's hosting the AFCON at the end of the year. How can this be translated? Because I think in 2022 Qatar, they had one crazy fan zone. And here we are.
We are working, thanks to our president to make sure we don't sleep. My goodness me. We are working, I don't want to spoil the surprise, because the stuff we're working on with AFCON is just amazing. Go to the stadium in Kasarani, you see the branding there, the look and feel. The product on television that is on KBC is amazing, it's world class. What we are doing now is we're pushing the envelope. We no longer want people to talk about African standards. We're talking about global standards. The standards, when you're watching a match in Kenya and you're watching a match in England, it must be the same. Why not? Now, the net benefit of this is you and me, the Africans. If we promote our own thing, we are benefiting directly from it. We either promote our own thing and benefit from it, or promote other people's products and they benefit from us promoting their own thing.
And Lux, let me bring in something. Communicating, there's the younger people in Kenya, we simply call them Gen Z.
Yes.
That's what they're known as. And, their platforms may not be the good old screen. It could be Instagram, could be TikTok, could be Facebook, visuals. How are you trying to bring out the excitement of these people? Yeah,
but the investment we are making, not only in the TV product, but also in the digital product at CAF is amazing. We have doubled all those engagements. We invested $1 million in archives, in memory of CAF. Because, you walk anywhere in Africa, they say the Africans don't have any archives of who they are. If you come today, the archive system is one of the best. The digital numbers of the last AFCON was 2.6 billion people. The numbers of the last AFCON TV audiences, the global audience, is 1.5 billion. This makes AFCON only the third best football event in the world after the FIFA World Cup and the Euro. You've got to reflect on this. It's bigger than South America, it's bigger than North America, it's bigger than South America, it's bigger than CONCACAF and AFC combined. It shows that in Africa we are sitting with something really amazing. And we are thinking both about the younger generation and, of course, the older generation, the role of the free-to-air. KBC is a great partner of CAF. The role that you guys play in really promoting football in Kenya, the role you play in working with CAF as a great partner historically, and hopefully going forward, just pay for the rights.
Don't give us the invoice yet. Now,
after the show.
After the show, we can take the invoice. But yeah, because that's today at State House Nairobi, I had FKF President Hussein Mohammed mentioned, slightly about some of the local engagements, 100 million impressions on social media and that. What numbers have you seen, comparably for CHAN 2022 and 2024?
We normally release the numbers and then for competition, but this is by far one of the most. I leave this to the president's press conference, which will be on Saturday. I hopefully live here on KBC at 1 o'clock on Saturday. Let's leave this to Dr. Motsepe's press conference. He will be announcing the numbers.
All right, so we've got a live press conference, so we'll mark that. Thank you, Lux. Normally, we are cautious not to take the press conferences live. We'll take that as a go. So we'll be ready with that 1 p.m. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, let's talk about broadcast, because this is where CAF and KBC, partner a lot, and the protection of that property. Welcome back to Prime Edition, and we're having a conversation, and this is about CHAN Pamoja 2024, and we're with Luxoxo September, who's head of TV and communications at the Confederation of African Football. Lux, we've spoken, about all of that, but let's talk about this partnership. And first thing, broadcast, because this is something that people, at times get confused about how these things, they think they're given. Others are, to directly translate from Swahili, they've been handed over to, the rights have been handed over. But just the background of engaging, the marketing firms to distribute this content that is there.
First of all, you must have context. You remember that in 2021, Certainly the people who negotiate the rights here will know that there was almost a TV blackout in Africa. When President Motsepe arrived at CAF, most of the sub-Saharan Africa could not watch African football at all. And one of the first jobs he gave us was that fix the TV rights, fix the TV product. So the investment on television at CAF is over $100 million at the moment in quality production. Look at the quality production of Chen here. We're not just bringing 8 cameras for Chen. I mean, the final has got about 38 cameras tomorrow. Sorry, on Saturday.
On Saturday.
It's got about 38 cameras plus 4, you know. This is world class. The game in England tomorrow will be produced by 28 cameras possibly. If they've got, of course, the final, they've got about close to 40 cameras. So when we are coming here for Chen, it's not the second best, it's the best, because the quality has to match this. The second element, obviously, is that without the free-to-airs and the pay TV, it's impossible to drive this. So the partnership between CAF and KBC and many other free-to-air partners is at the core of the growth and development you have seen in the last couple of years. The people of Kenya must be able to watch the Harambee Stars play. It's non-negotiable to us. Now, the public broadcaster and, of course, the free-to-airs and others then have to know that, of course, it's not free, you know, to employ, to pay the players is not free, to pay the national teams. Look at the fact that 2 years ago, the prize money of Chen was about $1 million.
Yeah.
Today is $3.5 million. That money must come from somewhere. The prize money for the women's AFCON 2 years ago was $200,000. Today, $1 million. African money is going to African football. This is very clear. I mean, we have got a president who doesn't take a salary at CAF, who doesn't take a per diem, we don't pay for his travel. So that means that ensures that all the resources that are coming to CAF go into this. That is why the partnership with KBC and other free-to-airs in the continent is vital for us. Making it affordable,
you know, I think 8 years ago, the costing for a single tournament like this was close to a World Cup. But how are you trying to make it affordable but also...
Well, I mean, we've got to strike the balance. We've got to strike the balance here. Accessibility is very important. Affordability is something that is always debatable because we've got to keep up with the market. If you want me to give you a product that is inferior, you know, then of course you're going to pay less for it and whatever it is. But if you want to be world class, we've got to push ourselves as Africans. Man, we've got to set these very high standards for ourselves. And this requires money. Financial investment. And I think the days of low production, low quality, those days are over. Now African football is competing with the rest in the world.
And to do that, one of the things is engaging local talent in productions. Commentators,
but look here,
crews.
I mean, we had Ben Otieno.
Yes.
By the way, the last AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire, for the first time we had African voices commentating on it. 50% of that production was done by African people. The director was from Africa. One of the directors was from Africa. The CAF Broadcast Academy, which was established recently, exactly addresses this. You know, if you go today to the FIFA, to IOC and everywhere else, you don't see African people. The CAF of today is investing, I mean, it's not our job to develop broadcast talent, but we understand the benefits of getting international people here and, of course, training our own talent and ensuring that they don't only do CAF or Chen, I mean, they also go around. And I mean, you've got one of the TV directors here from Kenya, Philip. He's with our crew. So, of course, we're doing it in a responsible manner because we cannot compromise quality. This false belief that when you're giving people opportunities, you are diminishing quality. We're demystifying it at CAF because it doesn't exist.
Well, and a closing word from you. A word to the people of Kenya, East Africa, you know, from managing TV, communications with your team, Ibrahim, Juliet, and all the media officers across.
I think, I mean, first of all, Kasarani Stadium, we have an appointment at 6 p.m. If you don't have your ticket, you've got to buy your ticket.
They were sold out in that time shorter than one half of a football game.
Unbelievable. If you don't have your ticket, please ask him. He's got tickets. I'm joking. but on a serious note, I know that the president of CAF is going to thank people of Kenya. He's still going to thank President Ruto. He's going to thank the people who've really made this happen. But I really, I mean, don't forget, by the way, that press conference at 1 o'clock. I really want to take this opportunity to thank the leadership here at KBC. My goodness me, you know, she calls me 50 times to say, where are the rights? That's how passionate she is about African football, about Kenyan people watching football. And I remember one instance whereby we had a bit of an issue somewhere. And she called me midnight in South Africa. I don't know what it was in Kenya. She says, Lux, can you believe it? Can you imagine a situation whereby people of Kenya cannot watch Kenya play? And that spoke to me. And I told the president, this is what she said. So you've got the right people. We must work together. Together we'll achieve more.
All right. Thank you very much. Luxoxo September. We call him Lux. And thank you for being with us. He's got to meet some 3 wise men somewhere. Not the 3 wise men who took the gifts, you know, on the day of nativity, but it's some 3 other wise men somewhere. Thank you very much, Lux.
Asante sana.
Karibu. Well, and that's a conversation, you know, about Chan, lessons learned, and also the back story about what goes around when it comes to the broadcasting rights.